Just 1 second. The last class we were talking about the single point cutting tool, and I have shown that how the cutting tool looks like also. 1 second. Is it easy? Yeah, is the screen visible?
Yes, sir.
So we were talking about single point cutting, that is also which is used in the lathe machine. So the single point cutting tool, we were discussing about the what are the various angles. As I told you, that will be in detail. Sir will be teaching. So I will be just talking about some of the only the basic things, like where we were talking about. There is something called as shank area, and there is a cutting part. Sorry, there is cutting part, and there is something called as flank area. So basically what we have discussed in the last class is that something like this. We have the tool is looking like this. And yes, someone is. We were something like this. We were talking last class. So this is what I have shown you, where I said that this part is the major cutting edges, cutting edge, and this small portion will be a minor cutting edge. Can you please switch off your mic? You can please mute it. Someone's mic is on. And in the later part, we have seen that there is something called as flank also, where we said that this part is the major flank and this small portion is the minor flank. This we said it is a shank, and this part will be our base of the tool base. And also we have seen there is a small, at this location, it looks something like this. It is not exactly, it's a sharp corner, though we have written something like this, and it is like the one which I'm showing. So there will be a small amount of radius, and here you will have a smaller radius. You will have some sort of a taper, something like this you are going to get. So that this part, what we said is that this is the corner. This corner will be like the tool radius. You will not have any sharp, though you are saying as a single point cutting, but there will be some amount of surfaceness in the cutting part actually. Okay, so these are the things which we have seen that. And as I told you, the major portion which we are going to be interested is in this one, which we call that where the chip is going to flow. The chip flows on this, basically this surface only. So this face, that face is called as rake face. We'll see in the later part. So these are the, basically we have seen the cutting tool, not exactly the nomenclature, but at least the cutting tool, what are the surfaces, what are the edges which are there in the single point cutting tool. So this is the single point cutting. Right? So we said that the primary motion is given to the workpiece. The workpiece will be. The workpiece will be having the primary motion. Someone's Krishna, your mic is on. Krishna Agarwal. So this workpiece is given the primary motion because the workpiece is held in the spindle chuck. The spindle chuck, the workpiece is held. And the tool, whatever you are going to give, it is nothing but the feed motion. These are the things which we have discussed in the last class and the before class also. Okay. Now let us talk about, suppose the same thing you are using the single point cutting on a lathe machine. Let us see how it looks like it. You will have one view. If I am going to see something like this, I will have the tool something looks like this. You will have the radius. One second. Let me draw down a little bit. So you have like this. And if I consider my workpiece something like this, and the one which you have, this is the radius, the tool radius which I said, it is something like this which I am going to consider. Right? Now, if I see this is my tool, the cutting tool, the cutting tool, and if you see the engagement of the tool with the workpiece is only at this location for cutting. So this is one tool engagement with the workpiece. But this engagement is because of the feed which is given to the tool. The tool is moving in this direction and the workpiece is going to rotate like this. That is what we have said. So this is my basically the axis of the workpiece. Now, if I try to see this depth, whatever this is something called as depth of cut. This is generally, it is given by AP. Now, this tool, let me zoom it and maybe it is better. Is this visible, the tool what I am showing? Now, the cutting tool, you have the depth of cut, and if you see, this is the feed engagement. Means if the moment the tool is moving up to this point, you will have something like this. The tool will be at this location. So this is the one which you are going to have because of the feed. And this part, as I told you, this is the depth of cut. Now you see, this basically whatever you are going to see this one. The one part which we are going to talk, this one, no? This is the same. This is the same component actually. So this is basically the major cutting edge. This portion is the major cutting edge, this portion, this. And there will be some amount of, this one is the minor cutting edge. Minor cutting edge. Is it fine? Now, if I try to see whatever is the material, suppose if you have something like this, the workpiece material is something like this, and whatever is the portion which you have removed, this is like, this portion is being removed. This portion is being removed, which we call it as AC. That is, most of the times, it is nothing but the undeformed chip thickness. Undeformed chip thickness, we call it as. Okay. Now, basically, what is happening is that you have this engagement with the tool, which is nothing but the feed engagement, and whatever you are going to remove, you are going to have like this. And the feed engagement is generally given as AF. This feed, whatever is you are going to move the tool, that is given as AF. Okay, feed engagement is given as the AF, whatever you are going to talk. Fine. Now you see this angle, whatever is the edge which you are going to talk, this will have some inclination with the work surface. This will have some inclination with the work surface. So this is called as, this component is called as major cutting edge angle. This is called as major cutting edge angle. So whatever, this is the face of the tool, the cross section of the chip is something like this. If I try to draw the cross section of the chip, it looks, this is what, sorry, let me make it done. So this is what you have done, and so this will be your chip, what you are going to remove. This is the cross section of chip, cross section of the uncut chip, which is going to be removed after a while actually. Whatever is which is left, this you are going to remove after some time actually. Okay, and as I told you, corner radius which I have shown you at this location as the corner radius which I have shown you, the same thing, that is the reason why I have written some radius actually. So this will be your corner radius. So basically any cutting tool will have 6 angles plus 1 tool radius or the tip radius, tool tip radius. The 6 angles, what are those 6 angles? We'll see later actually. Fine. Now, if I try to draw a triangle, it looks something like this. So this is the feed. As I told you, the feed which you are going to give. This will be like your AC. What I said is the uncut chip thickness, the triangle which we have considered. If I see, if I zoom it and show you. So this one, let me change the color actually. So the green, if I see, so this is because of the workpiece which you are going to get, and the perpendicular to this one, if I try to see, this is the one which you are going to look after. So this is AF, this will be your AC, and this angle, whatever is the angle which we were talking, that you can always write like this. So this is the angle. So this angle is nothing but your major cutting edge angle. Fine. So this is basically the perpendicular between these two. So this is how the mechanics of cutting. It will be, you will be learning more in detail when Jole sir is going to teach you basically. Okay. So this is what. Now what is that you are having? You have a, if I try to draw, I can draw something like this also. You are moving the tool something like this. This tool workpiece is rotating, you are going to remove. So whatever is the workpiece, if you are removing the workpiece, obviously you will have a lesser diameter which you are going to see. That means when you are moving the tool in this direction, that means it is the longitudinal direction. When the tool is moving like this, the longitudinal direction, what is that you are reducing from this one? Initially you will have some diameter and finally it comes to be some other diameter which is. So basically what you are trying to do is that the diameter is being reduced. The diameter is being reduced. I will draw again actually with clearly more. And if the tool is going to move in this direction, the lateral transverse direction, if the tool is moving in the transverse direction, what you are going to do? You are going to reduce the, if it is transverse direction, tool is moving, and this makes your length to be reduced. This, where you are reducing the diameter, that is called as turning. The process is called, when you are trying to reduce the diameter, this is called turning. And if you are going to reduce the length, this is called as spacing. Okay, so let me draw clearly how the turning process looks like. Is it okay what I am trying to say? Is it clear with everyone? Let me draw again the turning process where you are going to reduce the diameter. So dia is reduced. In the turning process, the dia is reduced. Means you have a workpiece like this. Let me draw the axis also. And let's say this is your workpiece. And when you try to reduce the diameter, let's say something like this. This you are going to have. This is the workpiece which you see. And the tool, whatever is the engagement of the tool, it is something like this. This is my tool. This is the workpiece and it is rotating. The movement of the tool is something like this. So whatever earlier which I have shown is basically this is the one which you are going to reduce in the each of the operation. Means this process will have something like this is what you are going to reduce in all the cases. Means there is an initial diameter of the workpiece which I will call it as the diameter of the work. Diameter of the work. After machining, maybe we can call it as something like diameter of the machined workpiece. Now, if you see whatever you are trying to reduce, basically earlier it was something like this. Earlier you have something like this. So this portion is removed. Once it is removed, whatever you are going to get, this one is the machined surface. I hope I am clear, everyone. This is the machine surface of our requirement and this will be your work surface. That is the work surface. But there will be some portion which is not being removed and which is also not being available. So this portion, whatever we are going to see, this is called as which is in process of being removed. This surface is called transient surface. One is the machined surface and there is a work surface, and between these two there is something called as transient surface. Now whatever we have reduced, this is what I said, this is your depth of cut. This will be the diameter of the machined surface, this is the diameter of the workpiece. Now this tool is having some inclination, as I told you, no? So this angle is what we were talking, the major cutting edge angle. Because the reason why I am not giving any designation is that I don't know what the Jolie sir will be following the designation. So that's why major cutting edge angle is given. Now the tool is moving in this direction. This we call it as minus Z direction. Yes, somebody is having some query, it seems. Anything you want to ask, please ask here. I hope everyone you are trying to understand. Aditya? Okay, fine. So here we are trying to reduce the diameter. That means this process is called turning. What you are trying to do is that reduce the diameter of the workpiece. Turning is reduction of the workpiece diameter. Here the tool is moving in this direction. As I told, it is moving in the longitudinal direction. The same tool, if I move it in the, what I say is that in the transverse direction, means you have, let's say you have the workpiece, something like this, and let us say like this what you have, and whatever is the tool which you are going to have, this one, what we have seen here, means it has to move in this direction. The tool has to move in this direction, which we call it as minus X direction. I told you in the lathe machine, you have only two axes, X and Z only. So this is my Z axis, and this if I'm moving in the along the, this will be like Z X axis. Now if the tool is you are moving the tool in this direction. You are moving the tool in this direction. Now you see this surface, after some time this will be removed. this portion will be removed. That means whatever, if you try to see initially what is happening is that this basically it looks something like, let me draw. So you started moving in this direction, that means you will be having something like this. The tool what you are going to see is the same thing. Basically you have to do tools. Now if you see, this is basically the transient surface. This will be your work surface. But whatever is the surface at this location, let me zoom it and show you. So whatever is the surface which has been obtained here, this will be your machined surface. This is machine surface, this will be transient surface, and whatever is this one is the work surface. So you have three surfaces in any of the operation. One is your machined surface, other is work surface, and the third is a transient surface in between two. Okay, now if you try to see, the diameter is going to be the same, dm. The diameter of the, sorry, this is the diameter of the, this is the machined, this is the diameter of the workpiece, right? And here what you are trying to do is that this length is being reduced because of this movement. The length is going to reduce. So this will be your basically transverse motion. Transverse motion of the tool. This is what we said, the longitudinal motion of the tool. So longitudinal will give diameter reduction, transverse direction will give length reduction. So this is generally many of the your interviews they will ask this one. So what happens to the workpiece when the tool is moving in the longitudinal direction and the tool is moving in the transfer direction? They will not say that whether you are turning or facing. They will talk in terms of the tool movement only. Okay, so this is for the where you are going to use single point cutting tool when you are talking about the lathe. So single point cutting, I said it is possible on the lathe machine or turning and facing, and I said this is boring. Boring, I said. Okay, instead of that one, sorry, let us talk about what are the operations which are possible on lathe machine. So let us talk. Anyway, this is also possible actually. This boring is also possible. So these are the lathe operations. So lathe operation, we said this is turning, facing, and boring. You have threading. I'll show you the threading operation also. And this is called parting. First, I'll talk about a very simple one. Let us take parting. So what you try to do is that you have the diameter of the workpiece is something like this. So you will have a parting tool basically. So you will have a parting tool like this. So it goes inside. This is the tool. It tries to separate actually. So once it is separated, what is that you are going to have? Your workpiece will look like something like this. So this will get reduced at this location, and this is going to be two parts. So this part will be removed actually. Okay, now you have two surfaces. This is also machine surface, this is also machine surface. So the diameter of the workpiece you are not reducing, you are just trying to part it actually. So this is nothing but your parting operation. So whatever is already you have done this work surface. This is your work surface and this is the machine surface. So the transient surface, what you are going to have is that when you try to remove some of the components at this location, no, so this will be like a transient surface, which you are going to remove after some time. Transient surface. Okay. So this is one operation which is possible by lathe machine actually. Let us talk about threading. Threading is little typical. You might have seen threading operation in most of your. You have something like this. Let me make a light line. So you have, let's say this is the workpiece which you have, and if you want to make threading operation on this one, so what you try to do is that you will have something like this. This you might have seen in the whether you have seen or not. So threading operation screws, you might have seen these threads. So threads will be like this. I'm just giving them an example. So the tool, whatever is the threading tool which you are going to see, it is having this, the cross section. So this will be your threading tool. And whatever is the threads which are being formed after the machining operation is these threads. So these threads are being formed. Okay. Before that, I will ask you one question. In MP2, MP1, I told you that the screws where you have threads. What is the process in which the screws are manufactured? Screws, small screws, manufacturing process. Small screws. Right. This process they, because they are very small components now. This is done by thread rolling process. They are not done by machining process. Only bigger screws or bigger threads, if you want to make that, those are possible on the machining operation. Now, if you see again in this case also, the tool will move. Sorry, the tool will move in this direction, minus z direction only. Right. So means whatever is the thread which is being developed on this one, like this will be your machined surface. And initially you will have the workpiece surface will be like this. You can call it as a work surface also. And just before removing, as I told you, you are going to remove this part now. So this will be your transient. So what you are going to see means how you are going to operate, do the calculations for threading operations, we'll see in the later part actually. So this is one operation. And the other operation which I was talking, this is basically the threading item. And this the other operation which I told you is boring. Which I'm talking is boring. Boring operation means you have a workpiece, something like this. You have the workpiece, and the boring means what? You are going to make a hole. You are going to make a initially boring is not done directly. First they try to, this boring operation is done only after drilling. So what they try to do is that first in drilling, if I want to make a hole, they try to drill a hole. So this drilling, the major material is removed. The major material is removed. And whatever is the small amount of material is there, they will try to do use this boring operation. Now you see, drilling is not a single point cutting operation. Drilling will be a multi-point cutting tool. So what you have is that you have something like this, and if I want to make a hole, if I want to have a hole inside this component, this you are going to have the basically the hole. This is the hole which you are going to make in the workpiece. This hole is being made, and This will be the surface. If I try to make a section, this will be like a section. So here what happens is that whatever is the tool which is going to come, this will go inside. Here the boring tool, boring machine will also have a tool something like this. The tip. So the tip will be moving, touching this workpiece, and it is going anywhere this workpiece is rotating. Here also same case, the workpiece is always rotating in this spindle. So the tool will be moving in this direction minus Z. So it is going to clean the surface in order to make a bore. Again, as I told you, boring is a single point cutting tool operation. Please don't get confused. The drilling is a multi-point, boring will be single point. Okay, so these are the some of the operations which can be done on a lathe machine. Right? Okay, let me open a new slide. Now, let us talk about how you are going to hold the workpiece. Holding the workpiece. I told you, no, you are going to hold the workpiece in a chuck. This chuck is mounted on the machine spindle, So if the spindle rotates, obviously the chuck also rotates, and finally the rotation of the workpiece is going to take place. Now, as I told you, chucks, you will have 3-jaw, 4-jaw. You have two varieties of chucks. I will show you the photograph or the image in the next class. So you have 3-jaw chuck and also the 4-jaw chuck. So which is being mounted on the main machine spindle. This is the main machine spindle. You are going to, this is being mounted. Basically, this is being done. So now these two 3-jaw and 4-jaw chucks are only used to grip the workpiece. And as I told you, sir, single point cutting tool utilized in machining. One second. There is one query. Can the single point cutting tool utilized in machining of surface able to be used for threading just by changing the RPM of the workpiece? You see, tools are different. For a single point cutting tool, I told you the threading is an operation which you are going to. So single point cutting tool is different and threading tool is different. Okay, so the question what you are asking is that whether the same single point cutting tool will be used for threading or not. That's what you are asking, no? Sivesh? No. The drilling, the thread cutting tools are different, which we will see later. These are thread cutting tool are different. It is not that you are going to do manually. There is a lead screw. We'll talk about the formulation now, how the threading tool is going to work actually. So I'll talk about what will be the pitch of the thread, how much should be the RPM. Those are the different calculations which we are going to see in the threading operation. So I'm just telling you what are the operations which are possible on the lathe machine. Okay. Now this workpiece is being gripped inside this either 3-jaw chuck or a 4-jaw chuck. Fine. Now, actually what happens is that there is a key also. Once I show the figure, then you will be able to understand better. So there is a key where you are going to tighten the jaw section. So then it is going to hold the workpiece section. So basically what happens is that in the case of a 3-jaw chuck, so there will be only one place where you are going to tighten, It is basically, suppose if the chuck is something like this, you will have 120 degrees angle. So this. These are all spring loaded actually. So you will have, this is the gripping portion and this will be having something like, so this is the spindle. inside this spindle, you are going to keep your workpiece. This is my workpiece. So the moment if you try to see in the three-dimensional, so you will have something like this. So you will have the jaws at this location. This is one jaw. This is one jaw. This is one jaw. So you will have a hole at this location which is being connected to three jaws, and this is will be a spring connected. So here you are going to either tighten it or loosen, and all these three elements move simultaneously in the three jaw chuck. If I try to tighten, these will move in this direction, this will move, this will move, and these are all equally movement. So that means they are all connected together actually. This. So if I try to loosen it, these will be moving outwards according to the diameter of the workpiece. So only one lever will be sufficient to tighten the workpiece. But in the case of four-jaw chuck, it is not like that. Four-jaw, they are all independent actually. In a four-jaw chuck, they are all independent. The reason why is that this will be having axis symmetry. But in the four-jaw chuck, if I want to hold a square, or if I want to have a rectangle, so that will be different. So that is the reason why they have independently been adjusted, right? So everything what you are going to see, on the spindle, they are independent actually. So you will have like one chuck here, one jaw here. This is one jaw. So here you are going to hold the like whatever is the workpiece. This is the workpiece holding edge. And as I told you, all these four jaws are independent. They are independent actually. So that can be done by either the same procedure. When you try to rotate individually, you have to rotate and you have to adjust actually. So all the threading screws actually. So although where you are trying to do in the four-jaw chuck, the workpiece tightening or holding, it takes a lot of time because you have to do tightening at all the four locations. But over a period of time, the operator also will get expertise, and that can be done faster. And as I told you, in the four-jaw chuck, this is only used for non-cylindrical workpieces. Non-cylindrical workpieces. Okay. So this is what means like we will talk much more in the cases of chuck, how you are going to hold the workpieces. Fine. So when we talk about holding of the workpiece, we said, okay, anyway, this chuck where we talked, this chuck is only being used when your L by D ratio is less than 3, means which have from 3 to 5. This should be in the order of 3 to 5. Otherwise, if L by D is greater than 5, so then you are going to use your tailstock. So means you have your workpiece. If the workpiece is long, you will have a tailstock at this location. So here you are going to hold, and this you will have the chuck. This will be your chuck. This is your tailstock. So based on the stock length, you are going to use the tailstock. You can always use without tailstock, but it will be like a cantilever effect actually when you are trying to machine at this location. So it is like a cantilever. You will not get a perfect cylindrical surface. You will be having some sort of taper which you are got, because the moment you are increasing your L by D ratio, there will be whatever the rotation which you are going to see, it will not be a circular rotation. It will be an ovalic actually. So there will be some sort of the concentricity of the workpiece is going to change. So up to 5 ratio, L by D ratio, then you are going to use a chuck. If it is more than mostly like 5 to 12, they use the tailstock edge. Okay. But when you are having the long workpieces, how you are going to hold it actually? As I told you, you are going to use your tailstock. But the tailstock will have, which whatever is the tailstock which you are going to see, it will have a cylindrical something like this. So what you have to do is that you make a small hole at this location such that the workpiece will go inside exactly. So whatever is the workpiece which you are going to have, it is something like this. It goes inside and workpiece. The moment you are going to rotate this workpiece, in fact, this also will be having some sort of protection basically. Right? So this is called as what I said is that tailstock. Fine. So this workpiece, if you have, you are going to use your chuck. I will show you the exact figure in the next lecture. Okay. So now you see when you are trying to see, you can use. Somebody is asking, can we use another chuck? Possible. But this chuck, when you are having, this has to rotate now. If I want to have one more chuck and you want to rotate, you need to have two spindles. You need to have two spindles. And these two spindles, again, they should have some sort of understanding between these two. So that means there should not be any problem when you are trying to rotate. So that is the reason why this will be held in a ball bearing actually inside this one. If you are going to hold this one, no, this will be on a ball bearing. So this rotates automatically because it's a loose element actually, basically. Sometimes you will have it's also fixed actually. That means you are just holding. Basically, what you are trying to do is that if you have a workpiece, you are just trying to hold it actually. Right? So you generally means I'm not saying that you will be having a check at two different places actually. Okay, so you have to make a small hole in this workpiece, tapered hole, such that this is going to fit and sit actually. Okay, fine. So this work holding devices are chuck and tailstock. So what will be your tool holding? As I told you, tool will be there on the tool carriage. There is something called as tool carriage, which I have shown you. But this tool carriage will have a compound rest. I'll show you the figures again, everything in the next lecture. So there is something called as compound rest, where you will have the tool can be means like we'll have some rotation along the on the carriage and also the linear movement. So that is called as a compound rest. I'll show you the figure actually. Right? So as I told you, the tool post, if you remember, let me open the image, what we were talking in the lathe. Last time I have shown you the lathe, no? Just 1 second. Just give me a minute, I'll open it. If you so this is what the lathe machine which we were talking, right? As I told you, this is the tool post. Huh? This is the tool post which I said, and the one which we are talking, this one, no, this is the tailstock, and this will be your chuck. So chuck and tailstock will be used for work holding. And this will be the tool post in which you are going to tighten the tool here. So earlier they used to have means like anyway that tool compound slide I am talking no. On this one also, you will have the compound slide where the tool post, entire tool post can be rotated, where you can give some inclination to the tool also. So that is how people used to do. But today we don't have such systems actually. See, because the tool, whatever you are going to use in a CNC machine, it will take automatically the inclination, everything based on the axis of the tool. So that is what they try to do in a CNC machine, the tool posts in a CNC machine. But in a conventional machine, all the rotations are required. So here you are going to have the compound rest. The entire tool post is mounted on a compound rest, and a compound rest is only for rotation. So here, if you see the tool, you have to make your tool located at this location. Also, you can have location. So if you see from the top view, it is something like this. The tool can be like this. The tool can be at this location. The tool can be at this location. The tool can be at this location. That means obviously you can have 4 tools on the tool post. So you can have 4 different tools. Suppose if the same component you want to turn it, turning and facing, one tool will be sufficient. Suppose you want to do a threading operation, you can use some other tool, and after that you want to do a parting operation, you will be using a third tool. So these 3 or 4 tools that can be mounted on this tool post. But in the case of CNC, we don't have the tool post. We call it as ATC, which is nothing but automatic tool changer. So you give the tool number and which location it is located. Obviously, the drive will rotate such that the machining is going to take place. Okay. So these are the tool holding and the work holding devices. Next. Okay, whatever we are talking about, this is called as an engine lathe. In lathes also there are many engine lathe, which you can use for low production work. This is also very big lathe actually. Basically, you have a lot of other drives also. A simple lathe will be used to make only turning and facing or threading or boring operation. That will be called as an engine lathe, right? But there are several kinds of lathes actually where you can do medium production or the high production volumes also that can be used. There is something called a turret lathe now, where the entire tailstock you can replace actually. Here, whatever is the tailstock which we said now, this is being replaced. This tailstock will not be there actually. So you will have some sort of a rotary indexing. So means where you will have some sort of an hexagonal, what we call it as turret. I'll be showing that figure also again. That is what it says in the case of different types of lathes. Let me stop sharing here. Okay, let me stop here. If you have any queries, please ask. Let me stop recording. Yeah, any queries you can ask, Manan.
No queries, sir.
Are you there? Fine. Kajal?
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir, will the batch 6 have MP lab today?
Today is what? Today is Monday, yeah?
Hi, sir. For batch 6, I am asking for.
MP, actually, I am having 1, 2, 3 batches with me.
Okay. So I have to talk with Dhananjay, sir, right?
Yeah, Jole sir, you have to talk. But hopefully, because the roll list has not come, which batch is what actually. I'm not sure whether we will be able to start this week or not.
No, sir. I have talked with the timetable in charge. He told me that the batch roll list is according to the last year.
Last year batches only. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Fine. In that case. Oh, so the batch 6, then you have to talk to Jole sir actually.
Okay, sir. I will.
2, 3, they are with me where we are going to. If the lab is going to start today, tomorrow obviously we will be having the same lab.
Okay, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Because last year what these people have done is that they have the videos which I already, as I have shown you MP1 videos, no, similar videos we made for MP2 also. So they will be showing that videos, operations, everything. Then accordingly, you have to write the journal and submit it.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. I will talk with him.
Yes, please. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you,
Chal.
sir.
Okay then. Bye everyone. I'm going to end the meeting.